Hello, Amira.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. So for everyone who's joining us, this is Amira Whitaker, and I'll explain more about her in a couple minutes once we get more people joining in. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm tired, but I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. How's your season going?
I'm good.
That's
I'm
good.
pretty. Yeah. How's yours? How are you guys doing?
Um, we are, I think, 4-2 right now, so we're doing pretty well. Have some stuff to work on still, but it's going good so far. I actually think we play Einstein this Wednesday, or yeah, something like that.
Pretty
I think so.
luck, but I gotta go for my babies.
Yeah, I know, I know. Okay, so I think we have a steady number, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce you. So to start off, this is the IG Lives with former and current players. I'm Nora Fairbanks-Lee. I'm an intern for PV Thunder currently. Today we have Amira Whitaker joining us. She was a member of the 2020 PVT team as a power forward. She attended Einstein High School in Kensington, Maryland, and is currently playing basketball at St Marys College of Maryland. And so she joined in her last year, I think senior year for AAU. And I actually got to practice with her sometimes and just get to know her. So it's awesome having you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so to start off, the first question is, how did you find out about PVT and when did you join?
So Coach Crystal actually came to one of my games, I think to watch one of her players, and she wanted to recruit me and another one of my teammates. And my coach ended up telling me, but I was like, no, I don't want to play AAU. And then my coach told my mom, and of course my mom wanted me to play AAU, but I didn't want to play AAU at all. I didn't want to play basketball anymore. This was junior year, and I really didn't want to do any of it. And so I held off for a long time, but then my mom kept on pressing me and pressing me and pressing me.
Mm.
I was like, you know what, I'll just go to a practice, try out and see what happens. So I went to a practice, and then from there, that's when I just stayed with the team.
That's awesome. And kind of going into joining the team, were you nervous about joining a new AAU, especially since it was like your last chance to play? And why did you
Absolutely.
out of that too?
Yeah, absolutely. I was very nervous because the last time I played AAU it was seventh grade, and that was the last time I played AAU. And my AAU experience wasn't, looking back at it now, it wasn't that good. When I was playing, it wasn't that bad because I was a kid. But looking back at it now, it wasn't that well. My coach would get my name wrong, and I played with them for like 4 to 5 years. I would
Wow.
get scolded. It was not a very good team to be on for real. So I was nervous because I didn't want it to be that same thing. I didn't want it to be like I was wasting my time. I didn't want it to be like, I was forcing myself to be there for, my mom or to be there for my coach. So I didn't really know where my head was going to be at. But then, like I said, like as soon as I joined it, I was like, okay, this is somewhere I want to stay.
And kind of going into that is why did you choose PVT? Like, what was the certain aspects of PVT that attracted you to it?
So as soon as I got to the practice, I saw like how it was set up. Everyone, was shooting around, putting their shoes on. And of course, me being the oddball, I just kind of like came in and just started putting on my shoes. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna do this. But then people actually started talking to me, not even knowing who I was. Like my teammates would talk to me. The coaches, came up to me, introduced themselves. And like as soon as I got there, it was like everyone was still joking around with me like I was already a teammate. Like everyone was treating me like I was already on the team. And so as soon as I got like that vibe that like I feel like I've been here for years, it was already like a done deal.
That's awesome. And I think the community at PVT kind of really embraces that, which goes into our question about how did it feel entering a new community and how did they make you kind of feel part of it when you joined it?
So as soon as I entered, like I said, I was still nervous. Like even after people were still talking to me, I was like, these people don't want me here. Like, that was just in my head. But like I said, as the season continued, I saw how the coaches just take you in like you're their kid. Like the way they talk to you, the way they coach you, the way your teammates help you out when you make a mistake or when you do something well, the way they uplift you. It was great. And then as the season progressed, like there was never really a time where I said, like, this is not, I don't want to be here. There was always times in basketball where I thought, like, this isn't for me. But as I was on PVT, I never once had that thought at all.
That's incredible. And I think it's really important to kind of understand the community you need to become a great player. And
Mm-hmm.
Coach Crystal and all the coaches at PVT, they're primary goal is to uplift each player and make them better, both as a player. And I think that's really embraced through kind of your story of a player and being part of the community.
Right.
And then for our next question is, I know you had a pretty big injury your senior year. So can you share with us about your injury experience and your kind of comeback story from that?
So before I tore, so that's what happened. I tore my ACL on my left leg, and I tore my meniscus as well. Before this, I actually tore my ACL meniscus in my right knee when I was in 7th grade, and that was predominantly why I stopped playing AU for that team. So as soon as that happened, like, of course, I already went through it. So my mind already went through the whole process. I was like, oh, I'm going to gain weight. I'm going to be, out of shape. I'm not going to be able to do anything, That was my first thought. And, of course, when it happened, I had already played AAU. So I had already gotten my agility back. I was, I was conditioned. I was playing at Einstein. I was playing 40 minutes each game. I was ready. And I actually tore my ACL like 4 games before the season was supposed to end. Probably the worst time. Before my senior night, probably the worst time ever. So, of course, everything was negative going through my head. I thought I was going to lose all my offers. I had plenty of offers. I thought I was going to lose all my offers because, going into a college season, injured it's not usually what people do. So I thought I was going to be on the lower end of it. And it was pretty hard at first because, like I said, I had all these negative thoughts and I didn't really know what was going to happen because my first injury went really bad. Like the ACL went really bad. I had to have so many surgeries for no reason. It just didn't go well. So I was kind of on the negative end, but through therapy, physical therapy, and through talking, even when I did this and I wasn't with PBT, they were still checking up on me. There were still coaches asking me, are you good? There were still players asking me, are you good? Like I had a lot of support from a lot of people. And I think that helped me with my positive mindset, and that helped me, get healthy again.
Wow. I couldn't do that personally. Like, I've had some teammates who've torn their ACL recently, but just it's incredible how our minds work and how community can really help heal that.
Yeah. Without all, I don't know how I would have gone through it at all.
Absolutely. Okay, and kind of goes into our next question is, any word of advice for others that are fighting to come back from an injury similar to yours or different?
I would say to never give up. There are going to be those times where you feel like, you're not getting any stronger and you feel like PT isn't going anywhere and you feel like you're going to be in that same hole for the longest time. I would say always do what your heart is telling you to do. So if your heart is telling you, I need to do those exercises at home, like my therapist is telling me to do, then you have to do that. And at the end of the day, there's always going to be, those stops. There's always going to be those stops. There's always going to be those times where you feel like, maybe, that sport that I'm injured, that I'm currently out of, isn't what I want to do anyway. So you're going to slow your time up. At the end of the day, you have to stay strong. You have to keep your mind up. And if you need help, you have people to help you. There are always going to be someone to help you. You can always ask your coaches for words of advice. That's always what I did. I would still go to practice, to still see everyone. I kept my mind occupied. That's also what you should do. Make sure your mind is always kind of off what you're going through, because then, you kind of still see like, okay, life still goes on, even when you feel like you're at the darkest points. I still practices. I was still, the first ones at the game. I was still, going to school and all that stuff. I was still doing everything that I was doing before I was injured to make sure that it didn't feel like life was just coming down on me. So you just have to stay strong and, keep a positive mindset even when you feel like you can't.
Yeah, that's like incredible advice, I would think personally. And like I would use that in my everyday life, whether it's or not. It's just an important thing to like just keep pushing through in a way.
Right.
So next is kind of going into your college experience, which I'm happy to talk about. It was really exciting seeing you play a couple like weeks ago, and person again too. So
thank you.
So when did you decide you wanted to play in college, and how did PBT help you in the recruiting process for college?
All jokes aside, I swear, I decided I wanted to play in college when I played for PBT. And I hope everyone on here believes me, because before I joined PBT, like I said, I didn't want to play at all. I wanted no parts of basketball. I wasn't even going to play my senior year. So after I played with PBT and after I started, getting my passion back, the love for the sport came back, that's when I was like, okay, I want to play for college. And as soon as I told Coach that, Coach told me Coach Crystal and Coach Becky, both of them, they both had a major part in, me finding the right place to go to college. I told them, and they told me, each person that was interested in me, every time I got, like an interest, or every time someone told me like they wanted, they had expressed interest in me, I told them about it. And me, I didn't know how to talk to these people. I had no idea the etiquette. I didn't know how you're supposed to talk. I didn't know how proper you're supposed to speak. I didn't know, how long you should wait to respond. I didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. So the coach, both coaches, I got, that kind of help. I got to understand, how to talk to people. I got to understand how to speak on the phone or when to answer phone calls. So they helped me properly go about finding the right college.
Absolutely. And I think something important to mention is, and something I love about PBT is, yes, they want you to achieve your dreams of playing college or whatever your dreams are. But they want you also to find the right place. So they're very helpful in providing advice and providing any help that you need. But they're also very careful not to impose any ideas they have on you, because they want you in any way possible.
Right. That's something I will say too. When I was asking for advice, they would never give me what I wanted to hear. They would always say what it was and what it wasn't. A lot of the times, a lot of the places I got recruited from were places that they already knew about. So if it was something they liked about the college, they would tell me about it. If it was something that they didn't like, they would tell me about it. They would never shy away from the truth. And that's something that's really would help people out there trying to find the right school.
That's a great point. So how would you describe the college athlete experience as a whole? And what's your favorite thing so far about being a college athlete?
So this question is hard because I feel like even being here for 2 years, it feels like I haven't even had like a real season because, last season I came in and I didn't play at first because, like I said, I was coming off my injury. And then as soon as I started playing, it was COVID. It was a COVID year. So we couldn't have any spectators. We had to wear masks on the bench. And, luckily we still had a season. Thank God we still had a season. And we didn't play nearly as many teams. We played probably at most 12. And that was hard for me too, coming in as a freshman, because coming in as a freshman, you think it's going to be, everything, everything you see on TV. But then when you come in, and it wasn't like that. But practices were still perfectly fine. We still ran through everything in practice. And practices were hard for me as well because, like I said, coming off an injury, I wasn't conditioned. I didn't really lift on during my injury, which was my fault. Make sure you guys lift depending on what your injury is. Still work out as much as you can. I didn't lift. I didn't really do the proper things to prepare myself to be a college athlete. So it was hard for me. But as soon as I got used to everything, as soon as I adapted, it was really fun. But then this year, completely different. We played a regular season, which is like 3 to 4 months. And that's, I think, the longest season there is out there. And so now it's kind of different because we play all these teams. The season's longer. We travel. It's completely different, which I find very fun. And I think that's the best part about being a college athlete is, the bus rides are terrible, but the hotel is fun. When you have to stay overnight places, it's fun. Your team links up in one room after curfew. Do not tell my coach. You link up after curfew. You guys play games. It's a very fun time.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I think community is a really important thing overall. So just having that community with you, whether it's from PBT or where you currently are now, It's amazing to see what that kind of power is especially when you step on the court. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So next question is, how would you describe PBT in one word?
I would say my 2 words are unity and family. So I think those kind of tie together as a whole. But when you play for PBT, it's not like you're alone at all. There will never be a time where you're alone playing for PBT. There's always someone in your corner. There's always someone helping you out on and off the court. You make a mistake and it's not like blown in your face. PBT coaches are not the type of coaches to put you on blast in front of everyone. It's a great experience. And playing with them, I felt like I had a home. Like, I was never excited for practices back in the day, never. But as soon as I joined this team, practices were my favorite thing. And I would have practice. There was a small point in time in the fall season where I would even have practice I would have like high school practice with PBT practice. And of course I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be so tired. Regardless of how tired I was, it was so fun. Like practices will forever be my favorite moment at PBT. Practices were so fun, competitive. It was just, it's a great team. It's a great family dynamic. It's great.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with that. Honestly, like I would say my favorite thing is practices as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's so competitive, but you also go there and like experience the family you have there,
Right.
catch up with your teammates when you're not in practice, and then you get some work in, which is always so fun.
Exactly right.
So for the next question is, what is your favorite memory of PBT? Which kind of ties.
Exactly. I'm trying. This is the memory that I always think of, but I'm trying to, make the details right. So Coach Crystal or Coach Becky doesn't come to me. So basically, there was a practice, and I remember solely the competition was so heated because I think Coach Crystal and Coach Becky were playing. That's another thing. With PBT, the coaches will run with you. They will never stand down on a competition. They will run with you. Never. Yeah, exactly. And so Becky was playing, and Becky was always on the opposite team of me because we were going head to head. Every time Becky was on the court, I wanted her. That's how it was. And so there were times where I don't really think it's a specific memory because, like I said, this is how it was all the time. So the practices were just fun, competitive. And it's not like the competitive where, like, you're against your teammates. It's not like, they're your enemy. It's competitive where we're going to go head to head right now, but at the end of the day, you're still my sister. At the end of the day, you're still my coach, And it was a great time all the time. The competition, the fun, it was great.
Yeah, and I think, okay, I remember those practices all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think came to yours when we had combined practices. You and Becky went at it, like, in a very fun way. It wasn't, again, like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to beat you wherever. It's like, I'm pushing you to be better, and I'm, like, back and forth, and it was really fun in a way. So I enjoyed those moments a lot.
You and me both. And like adding on, like when the younger teams would come to practice with us, like when you guys would come to practice, I thought that was really cool too, because not only are we getting to know our own teammates, we're getting to know our younger teammates. And even alumni games, we're getting to know teammates that we didn't even play with, or I didn't play with. They probably played with them, but teammates that I didn't even know. So it was a great time to, get to know everyone that's played for PBC, youngest and oldest.
Absolutely. And so for our last question tonight, is there any advice that you'd share with players that are working through the process of picking an AAU team, especially if it's like your last season?
I'd say go with your heart. I say as soon as you go to a tryout or as soon as you go to watch a practice, whatever process you're going through, the way the practice is conducted or the way the teammates conduct, the way teammates handle each other and the way your coaches handle their players, that is when you're going to know if you want to be there or not. I'm telling you, as soon as you step in the gym, you will know if you want to be there. So that's what my advice is. Go with your heart, go with your gut. As soon as you feel like, oh, this is somewhere, I don't want to be, do not force yourself to stay there because of anyone else. Solely go off of you because you're the one that's going to be playing for the team, not your mom, not your dad, not your guardian. You're the one that's going to play for this team. So I suggest you go with how you feel and make sure you really know that that's where you want to be because you're going to be with them for a long time.
You're really coming in with good advice.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us tonight and kind of speaking your thoughts and everything about PBT and your own experience. We really appreciate it. And it's been amazing seeing you again as well.
Of course. Tell everyone I missed them.
Well, I promise.
Thank you guys so much.
Anytime. Bye. And I also want to say thank you for everyone that joined our live as well. And being able to talk to Amira Whitaker was an amazing experience, and I hope you guys learned a lot as well. We'll be back next Sunday as well with another speaker who's a former, actually a current player, and actually is one of my teammates as well. Her name's Alicia, so I hope you guys come back next week to join us. Thank you, everyone, and hope you have a good night.